Hello everyone and welcome to the another episode demo to production. Today we are going to discuss something that almost every developer, maker and founder is experiencing right now. AI had made building software incredibly fast and you can desire an idea in plain English and within a minute AI can generate code and design an interface, write product copy, create presentation and even suggest how you should launch it. A few years ago building the first version of a product could take months, and today someone can build a working demo over a weekend, maybe over a day or sometime in a 5 minutes, and that is exciting. But it has also created a dangerous misunderstanding. We have started confusing the speed of building a demo with the ability to build a real product. A demo works because the creator knows exactly what to type. The data is clean and the environment is controlled. The perfect model is selected. Happy path. And usually nobody asks what happens when something fails. Because in the initial everybody assume it's gonna break the internet. But production is completely different. Real users do not follow the script. They provide incomplete instructions. They upload wrong files. They change their mind halfway through a task. They expecting the system to remember them correctly. And the exact fast response, accurate result, privacy, security, and the simple experience. When the AI makes a mistake, they do not care whether the problem comes from the model, the prompt, the retrieval system, or the database, even though for the product design. For the user, product simply didn't work. This is where the real challenge begins. Building the first AI feature is becoming easier, but making that feature reliable, testable, affordable, secure, and genuinely useful is still difficult. A founder has to think about many questions. What happens when the model gives the wrong answer? How do we, I would say in a different phase, how do we know whether an output is actually good? How much information should we send to the model? And what should the system remember and what should it forget? And like this, there is thousands of the questions that need to be answered well. And perhaps the most important question, even when the product works, how do we find people who genuinely need it? Because AI may help you produce code faster, but it does not automatically give you customers. Or I can say the customer understanding, maybe how you're gonna distribute, how customer will trust, and the product market fit. The problem become even more important for solo founders and small teams. They do not have separate departments for engineering, AI research, security, customer support, and the marketing. The same person may be building the product in the morning, speaking to the user in afternoon, and fixing production problem in the evening. And I'm sure you understand that because this is you and me already doing that. So today we are not going to discuss how to build another impressive AI demo that's everybody's doing. We are going to discuss what it takes to build an AI native product that can survive real users. We will talk about the difference between idea and a useful product. And we will try to understand not only what works, but also what remains difficult. To explore this, I'm joined by someone who has experienced the startup journey from the different sides. Saurav Singh is a three-time founder and also the founder of the MakeZero AI. He has spent more than a decade building products, raising funds, scaling platforms, finding user and learning from both success and the failure. I will tell you a secret. He raised more than $1 million in funding, helped grow a company, tried to valuation of over $40 million and scaled products to more than 25,000 users. But what makes today's conversation especially interesting is not only those numbers. Saurabh described himself as someone who has learned by building, failing, and building again. His guiding principle is that the AI should make people significantly better at what they do rather than simply trying to replace them. So they are daily product designs. Saurabh, thank you for joining us, and it is great to have you here because we go into a deeper discussion. I would like to begin with your journey and understand how your experience across multiple startups has shaped the way you think about building AI products.
Thank you, Rajan. First of all, thank you for having me today. And that was a very generous introduction. But yeah, I mean, happy to share my learnings with the viewers today. So yes, my journey began almost a decade back. I think it was in 2015, in the last year of my college, when I shut down my first company. It paid for the last semester's tuition fee, but then things changed, team fell apart, and we had to part ways. And since then, I've started two more companies, raised successful capital, as you mentioned, and the change I have seen is the speed at which people are now making products. Uh,
Yeah,
and and the problem is the speed is way too fast, but the fundamentals of building product are still the same. You still need real users for your product. You still need proper research, not just your chat GPT answer. Will it work? Right? You need all that information and all that data before I suggest you call your AI built product actually a startup. So the change I have seen is, of course, the speed at which people are building products. Second is people are now marketing their products by themselves. I guess 5 to 6 year down the line, before this, 5 to 6 years back, people used to talk about running ads on, let's say, Google, Facebook, and whatnot. But today, things have changed. People prefer founder-led marketing over paid ads because in this ever increasing noise of new products, people now tend to look at who is the person behind that product, and they want to purchase from a real human more than just a shiny logo that you created overnight.
yeah,
These are the important changes I'm seeing. There's a lot to talk about. Just compressing something into this answer.
yeah. Thanks a lot explaining Saurabh in so detail about you. And the first question I really need to ask is: AI had made entrepreneurship easy, but if we scale from 0 to 100%, do you think does it making only first 10% faster, or it's more than that?
Entrepreneurship is never easy. Entrepreneurship will never be easy.
I agree.
The
I
only
agree.
thing that is easy is how quickly you can prototype your product, be it hardware, be it software. Uh, AI can do that overnight, but the
Mhm.
fundamentals are still the same. You need to talk to your users. You need to iterate your product. You need to set up demo calls with your customers, note down how they are reacting, take analysis of that, and also you need to personally reach out to people to actually purchase your product. Right? AI is not going to purchase your product. People are still the one who are going to invest money into your product. Well, I would say only 10% has been accelerated. Rest 90% are still the same. You need to build something that people want, right? And
I,
and something
I
that people will pay money for, and that is a grind that takes a
yeah.
lot of effort, and that's why I'm saying entrepreneurship will never be easy.
Yeah, that I absolutely agree. So, based on the answer, let me go back in the history.
Hmm.
So, you have built three startups. Now, everybody know that.
Yeah,
What do you understand now that your first time founder version would probably refuse to believe?
I learned it a very hard way to do not love what you build.
Oh, okay.
So
That is
my first company, uh, I had so much attachment from it. The way I built it, I felt that this is something. If this is something I want, why not everybody else in the universe is also wanting this product, right? And then you have a false sense of a belief that the maybe other folks will also want this product, but you learn it very hard way when people stop paying you or people do not pay you for the product. And then you realize, if your end goal is to solve a person's problem, then make sure that
Mhm.
the problem you are solving is not your own. It's the problem of the person who that you're trying to solve. It took me, I won't deny, it took me about 7 to 8 years to understand that.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a huge bias as a first time founder I have seen in myself. And a few things I've also learned is that uh, earlier, people, I used to read a lot, startup advices and even YCs, startup schools lessons. I had made all the notes down, like what to do. I made the perfect pitch of the perfect blueprint of how to start a company, and I followed it. But then the entire blueprint goes into trash when you go into production, right?
Yeah.
So people say you need to find the best co-founder, you need to have a team, you need to do that, right? But the thing is, you will never learn the lesson until you actually fail in life. Writing your blueprint down is one thing, and actually learning is takes requires making something in the public and failing in public. These are the two main lessons I've learned.
That's really a good lesson to everyone who starting new things now,
Yeah.
because one rule now I understand is do not love your product solely. I know it's hard, but I absolutely agree. So based on
Love
that,
the problem of your user more than your
yeah,
product, and then start aligning your product to your user's problem.
that is true logic. You need to focus on the solving the problem instead of loving just the problem. And okay, if I take this as a statement, and let's take you back for a moment, and you say the technology works in some scenarios, but the product still does not. I mean, the backend technology is good, and you build a product, but now product still not working. So generally, people have such problems. So what do you say about this?
It's a classic case of I am good at one thing, but
Mhm.
I'm not good at the other part of the things. So I'm really good at engineering, but I'm not really great at talking to people and understanding their problem. Right? It's a When you're building a startup, you need to have a multi dimensional problem solving capability, not just engineering, right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, that a technology works but people are not using it, then probably you need to broaden your skill set. Invest, I would say, more of your time from engineering to understanding how people think, how people are using your product. Um, just observe what people are doing with your product, right? Don't ask question, do you like this? Just ask the person, start using in front of me, and start observing, and then you can fix your product uh, for the person's liking. I'll give you an example, right? S- uh,
Mhm.
2 days ago I had a call with Meher, and she was stuck at
Mhm.
something, right? And she
Yeah.
was trying to create an image from the
Mhm.
platform, and I
Mhm.
just observed, right? So she said, I have these two images, how do I combine these images to create a new one? And I was like, so how do you plan on doing that? And then she did something that was not right. And then I realized, maybe there is a learning here, right? And I implemented that fix right away. So Meher, if you're listening, if you you see those two images on your canvas, now you can select those images and then directly combine and create a new image from it. You do not have to go that entire length of doing it, right? So engineering is one part of it. The technology works, but to make the product work, you need to invest in people and have broaden your skill set to understand people.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that's I would say that absolutely agree, and it's very important to listen the
Mm.
problem first,
Yes,
the user problem.
yes.
And okay, that is an interesting one. So, like we're talking about the AI a lot now. So,
Hmm.
generally, when we start working with the AI
Uh,
prompts and things, AI make you feel like a genius for a start, and
yeah.
then humble you in next 5 minutes, and maybe sometime you feel like okay, sounds like a patting is going on, or it's becoming so humble and agreeing with me.
Hmm.
Such situation happens a lot. So what you will say about on this statement?
I think when we are talking to, let's say, with ChatGPT or Claude, The problem is with us. So when we, how we ask question with ChatGPT is the cause of those bad answers. Let's say you have a startup idea. What people do is, I have this startup idea. How do I implement this? Right? Instead of asking, I have this startup idea, be neutral about it, research online, be brutal about your reasons, and roast this idea, rate it out of 10.
Yeah.
Run analysis through Y Combinator's, how they select, criteria of selection a startup. Does my idea pass that test? You need to start with that, not like, I have this idea, how do I build this? Of course it will tell you how to build it, right? Of course it
Yeah.
has to give you an answer, and it will give you an answer that that's how you build it. But then, like I mentioned, the problem is, lies with us, how we are talking to, um, you know uh, with AI. Apart from startup stuff, let's say if you are talking about any life question in general. So if you talk about, like, is quinoa good for me? Yes, quinoa is good for you, right? Is quinoa bad for me? Yes, quinoa is also bad for you, right? But then,
Yeah.
what matters is how you're asking a question. So you just say, I'm going to consume quinoa, in the evening with this,
Mhm.
I have these sort of health conditions. What do you think?
Mhm.
Right? Now, this is probably, now the model has quite a good context about,
Yeah.
context matters. So now the model will try to, objectively answer a question instead of fitting its answer into a good, or is it a bad. So your question has been neutralized.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, yeah. So asking the right question still a question for the people.
That,
So
that is,
yeah,
I would say, that is still people skills. Asking the right
right.
question. If you consider ChatGPT an extension of a person, then, it's an art. How you ask a question, how to ask the right question. So again, it's a learnable skill. It's not something that you have in your DNA. It's a practice.
So if that is the case, is it AI native, or I would say, what is the meaning of the AI native in that case?
Um, AI native means that, the core functionality of whatever you're building,
Okay.
requires AI to be present. If, let's say, you are using building on top of OpenAI, and OpenAI goes down, your product dies, right?
Uh,
That is AI native for me. Um, and in today's world, the new, uh, the everyday new products that we are seeing, I suppose all of them are AI native. uh, that's a new way of building, let's say, a software startup.
got it. Got it. And this is how you can simplifying the AI native to the people. So that's a very good explanation, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
So, what is the difference between adding AI to a product and design the product around the AI? What is the difference between that?
Right. um so adding AI to a product shouldn't be done just because we have to push AI into this product, right? It has to be
Oh,
done if it significantly enhances the user's experience. There was an interesting podcast by Y Combinator, and, the folks were talking about a concept called horseless carriages. Earlier in 1900s, horses were the one that were pulling the cart. You know,
oh,
and
okay.
then
Yeah.
with the invention of the engines, we replaced the horse with the engine, right? Did it significantly enhance the user experience who was sitting in the carriage? No, right? Because I'm still sitting in my carriage. The roads are still made of mud, right? Not asphalt. So it did not significantly enhance my experience. So, what you need to do, if you have an engine that is so good, make sure the entire offering, the carriage, the road,
Mm,
everything also exists so that your engine can perform really well. Just make sure it is not a horseless carriage, what you're building, right?
right.
Um,
Right.
so that is something, I usually, that's one analogy of how I think of integrating AI. Um, yes, don't put AI just for the sake of making powered by AI. So don't do that.
I agree, and this is the best explanation of. I mean, you simplify a very complex topic in the easy manner. by giving such amazing example. So I'm still thinking about it,
Mhm.
and I have a question in my mind. What should an AI native product do that chatbot with a long prompt and cannot do well?
Mhm. Um,
So yeah,
yes. So I suppose uh, writing long prompts is not the way how a human works, right?
yeah,
How we work with our coworkers is we probably send a two-sentence task to them, right? For example, Meher, I'm bringing you in again. So Meher, can you please ask Saurabh how it works? That's it,
hmm,
right? And Meher will figure out what to ask, how to come up with the right questions and understand what Saurav is saying and then come back to you with the answer, right? But your question was just two sentence long. But with, let's say, if you want to work with ChatGPT, the vanilla version of ChatGPT, you will have to write a long prompt. Hey ChatGPT, I'm talking to this person. This is what you have to do. Go to this person, ask this question. You know, make a plan. Do this, do this, do this, and then come back with me with an answer. So people are really bad at long prompting with
yeah,
AI native with AI native,
mhm,
the startups have to take care of the long prompting and just let the user, you know, and let and make the user only write what is essential, and then you conjure up the rest with your skill set in your product, right? So it could be like, so I'll give you an example of MakeZero. So on
mhm,
MakeZero, if you want to make a presentation, uh, you know what what users usually do is they write, just make a presentation on today's headlines. That's it. And then in the back end, what we do is your two sentence prompt is converted probably into 100 and 200 sentence prompt automatically. We include everything. Go to this website, figure this out. This should be the color scheme based on past what the user has done on this platform. This is his preferences, and then you make a presentation, right?
yeah,
So this is what
yeah.
AI native companies do. They try to predict what the user might like, and yes, just reduce the prompting load.
That's really amazing, because this is one of the bottleneck. To be honest, no
Hmm.
matter how smart model you select in ChatGPT,
Yeah.
Cloud, or any other tool, that's still a bottleneck for resolving a problem. Okay, that's great. So let's back to one more questions around, maybe more questions around the people who actually start building products.
Hmm.
So suppose somebody have an idea and they execute the idea and they really want to go with the first real user. So before building a V1 version,
Hmm.
what must a founder learn from potential user?
First of all, I would still suggest, instead of building a V1, what you can do today is probably build a problem statement page, a website that states the problem statement, and also suggest in a very simple manner that this is the solution I'm coming up with. And then probably you can also put up a sign up or a waiting list over there, right? Just to gauge the interest of the people, uh,
Mhm.
because no one is perfect at discovering the best ideas, right? You have an idea, I suggest you test it immediately, right, instead of waiting and coming up with the best ideas. um, for the users, the best approach is, like I mentioned, create a landing page, get the interest, and then start talking to the users who have shown interest, because sometimes the problem statement and the solution that you mentioned has an entirely different picture in the user's mind than what you have in your own mind, right? Now you start talking with the potentially interested user that this is something I'm building. You signed up on this. What do you feel about it? And what are your problems in the first place that you think can be solved by a solution like this, right? So I would go by this approach, and then probably after gathering enough intel or intelligence, I start making a version one. The second approach is, which is a bit, it's a bit brutal, and this is what I used to do and I still do, is I'll make a product first. I'll make a version one first, right? I'll keep it out in the public and let people criticize it, let people use it or not use it, right? And then I'll gather intelligence, what the
Mhm.
folks are doing on my platform, right?
Yes.
So why this is brutal is, you have to, let's say you learn something new, now you have to restart or pivot your startup again, and start building, maybe from again
Yeah.
from scratch, right? These are two ways of doing it. My take is, you go by the easy route. The brutal one is something, if you enjoy building, yes, why not? If you start keep enjoy writing code, you should do the other approach. So yeah, these are my 2 cents on that.
And yeah, I absolutely agree. And why I'm agree, I will tell you the background story. Just to simplifying my understanding around it, I already invested more than $4,000 to hire an expert who just simplify exactly in a month, which you explained in a 2 minutes.
Okay.
So yes, that is a true story, and that is the right approach from where you need to start working on your product.
Hmm.
Not just go and blindly build it, but you really should have a strategy how you validate the ideas.
Yes. That the game plan is still the same. Validate
Yeah,
before you commit to building it.
right.
Build and then iterate is another way. We call it the lean startup approach. The
Mhm.
first approach is probably in the lines of design thinking, wherein you interview users first and then build your product. I have been on the other end of the table, where of the lean startup approach.
So let me ask you something, just because you explain everything. Tell us about a product idea you strongly believed in, but user saw it differently.
uh, I'll give you an example of MakeZero again. It's a very recent project,
Okay.
right? Uh,
Hmm.
I thought people will create canvases and start creating content, right? But then we also have a great search feature in MakeZero, right? With
Hmm.
that, you can search inside your files, and
Hmm.
then not just keywords but in natural language as well. I like I mentioned, after having a demo with that user and understanding how they are using, I saw that they are using the canvas as a folder for saving their files,
Okay.
right? And what they are doing is, because that search feature is so great, they are doing
Mhm.
something that file, and then it is showing that these are the files, and on this page, probably what you're asking for is written, not the keywords, it could be like any natural language prompt, right?
Mhm.
um yeah, people do amaze in different ways, and when they are using your product. So
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Because one of the prime example, which is funny, is sometimes we use, uh, for example, there was a strategy where people use WhatsApp chat
hmm,
to drop a list or maintain things.
hmm,
And then when the WhatsApp realized, they introduce a feature where you can message yourself.
ah, yes.
So this is the real story, and this is the real user learning,
Hmm.
that sometime a platform never expect the behavior of the user,
Yes.
and we have to adopt that as well.
Yes, and these are
And
the behaviors that you need to write down, because the user actually found a use case for your product, right? So you need to write everything down. What the user is finding value, and then probably align your product accordingly.
so, okay, and there's one more prospect I have is, what was there a feature you loved building that users almost I would say completely ignored?
Yes, a ton of. I have,
Okay.
I have probably removed half of the features that you see today, and
Oh.
yeah, there was this LinkedIn agent that we built. So
Mhm.
you can just keep on running that agent. It will ask for, on what topics you talk about, and it will ask for some of your portrait shots. It will keep it
Mhm.
within its memory. And then on a daily basis, let's say at 8 a.m. or a set time, it will write a post from your topic, take your portrait photo, and then post it on LinkedIn, right? uh, but then nobody was using it because nobody trusted what the agent will do. Right, I don't want something that should not be there on my LinkedIn, right? But we learned a good lesson from it, right? People are scared about 100% automation, right? Still, people still don't trust what AI will do. um, and a ton of other features also, right? I started MakeZero as Git chat, right? Um,
Oh yeah,
10 or 15 people will know about it. So Git chat
yeah.
was
I'm them. Just to let you know
yes.
that.
Yes. So I think for the first 2 months it was called Git chat, and what it did was you could create branching AI chats, right? So
Yeah.
instead of having a linear WhatsApp-like chat, you can just have your conversation branching out on a canvas. So it gave me, I felt proud of it, that I can have a different conversation. So that was a Me Too product. I wanted that, but soon I realized that people don't really want any of what I created, right? And then the grind started. Maybe few of the enthusiasts still want it, and I kept it. Uh, but yeah, I mean, now the 90% of the usage is not from the branching chats, but it is from the content creation engine we have.
So generally, when such scenarios come to the picture, what did you do next? Generally, you remove that, you improve it, or you just keep defending that. Oh, you maybe in the future you need.
I think you need to have a clear motivation why you are building something, right? So you can be brutally honest also, right? So I want money to be made from this product, right? If
Yeah.
that is my goal, which is the goal of any company, is to make a profit, right? If that is the
Yes.
goal, you need to stop, like I mentioned, you need to stop, stop loving what you're building, right? I wanted Git chat, but the users did not want any of it. uh, I sidelined it. I did not make it a hero feature. I started understanding what users are doing. I set a few interviews, by the way, with few of my users, and just asked, what do you do on a daily basis? Not what you're doing with Git chat, right? I just asked, what do you do on a daily basis? And then they mentioned that, I'm talking to Claude. I have created this LinkedIn post generator that goes online, scrapes the news and gives me a daily LinkedIn post, and I post it manually. And that was the case with, I would say, there was a quite a big huge overlap of what people were using Claude for.
Yeah.
Primarily, engaging. Why do you create content on Claude? To share it with folks on the internet, for the most part, right? um, that was the case. I found that now this is a very inefficient way of doing it, right? Prompting Claude that, what, just write me a post again, write me a post again. That gave me few inputs of where I should position MakeZero next. I saw the struggles of folks creating genuine posts, not AI slop, creating carousels on LinkedIn. It was also quite a task for them. They were doing ChatGPT, write a carousel content, going to Canva, creating a carousel, or buying a subscription for Gamma, creating a carousel, right? So I saw a disconnect there. uh, that gave me a direction that where I should be focusing more on.
That's great. That's great. So if we talk about the moment the prototype meets the reality,
Hmm.
so what are the first three things that normally break when AI prototype meets the real user?
From my experience, the first thing that breaks is your security, I would say.
Okay.
And security on a very very bad level. If you were to, let's say, vibe code something overnight, uh, now it has a very less tendency to break security, but now the models are quite improved. But back
Mhm.
then, 1 year back or 1.5 year back, uh, the security was quite an issue. In the front end, I could see in the API calls, I could see the entire user profile, what's their email, what's their address. Even the
Yeah.
hashed passwords were also coming in publicly via the API call, right? Anybody could see that. Yeah, of course, it was hidden in the Chrome developer tab, but that's a huge mistake. What the model did, that should never happen, right? And the second thing that breaks is people tend to have a very specific People, when they start using your product, they already have a muscle memory of how things should work, right? For example, if I'm creating a canvas, right, and I'm showing nodes as files, right? People associate that with their desktop, right? I have files, I can drag the files, right? I can select multiple files, I can right click the files, and then probably, create a new folder and create a new content out of it, right? That is something that's a deep understanding. That's a deep understanding how user behaves. AI will create something that does the job for the prompt given, right? I would ask, create a canvas for me. It will create a canvas for me, right? Why the nodes are not dragging? Because you asked me to create a canvas. The node should drag. Okay, I'll add the feature, right? That's a deeper level of understanding where AI, requires uh, a deep input. Um, these are the two top of my mind, I would say, instead of three. These are two things that usually UX and security.
Yeah, that is. I mean, yeah, that is absolutely true. And security is the crucial one, to be honest.
Security is
It is.
so crucial. I'll give you one latest example.
Uh-huh.
So Mozilla's Odin research wing,
Yeah.
right? That part. Recently, because we are accepting everything what Claude or Cursor does, right? So should I install this package? Of course, yes, you should. I will not review what that package is, right? So what the shady folks have done is they have created genuine looking npm or code repositories, but then they have also put in some poisoned code in those repositories, right? So the Claude will read the README file and say, yeah, this looks good. Let's install it on my project. But then what will happen is it is also, downloading those poisoned files because it is not looking inside that repository, right?
Yes.
So once that gets added, the guy who created that poison repository will have access to your production server, right? You can consider it as a backdoor access to anyone. um so yes, and prompt injection, people dismiss it, but it is still real, and this is a new type of injection, which is poison repositories. Security is such a nightmare with vibe coding. I don't know how people blindly accept, uh, and I'm a culprit of it. I won't say I'm a quite uh, a person who is very well aware about it, but recently I started, recently, like 6 months back, I made a habit. If my agent is writing something, I'll review it first before accepting.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. The laziness in the execution process sometimes, do a weird thing with the people.
Yes.
So I absolutely agree. So with that context, can you share one production failure that was stressful in the
Mhm.
past, but now it seems funny for you?
um, there have been many production failures. Um,
Mhm.
One was, I would say, I went to a college in a couple of months back. I wanted to conduct a workshop and introduce MakeZero to the students so that how they can also create their documents and presentations. Um, so I never expected that all of the 60 people in the room will, parallelly ask for creating a presentation, right? And I was limited by my LLM provider, how much concurrency I could have, right? My concurrency was set at 20, which I felt was crazy, right? 20 people at the same time, nobody will do that, right? When 60 people came in, all of those calls, I would say, got rejected. Nearly all of those. I guess 15 odd got accepted, and then, they got rejected. Why it was so funny was because I felt that was like 20 concurrent calls means I need at least 1,000 or 2,000 users. How can 60 people do uh, but that was a very naive way of I did not uh, again, it's a very naive way, but I did not anticipate all the 60 people to be so enthusiastically start creating presentation as soon as I said, now you do it. So
Yeah, I I can understand that. So now I'm thinking one more prospect is, as we move from here more in the production, and production is like a combination of a lot of technologies. It's
Hmm.
like in the layers,
Hmm.
and AI become one of the layer
Hmm.
from all the components. So if something is break, if something is creating a cause, how do you find out whether it's the AI failed or the production design failed, or what simply did not understand what to do? How you figure it out in your system?
Uh, so we need to put in some, there are many products out there that can help you in that, but we need to log everything, right? And have a proper flagging mechanism in place. uh, let's say if something breaks, right, the logging will give you, I forgot the name of the service. It's deeply integrated in Grafana, right? So Grafana is something that we are using, and we log everything there, every user interaction, when they send a request to LLM. So we take a note of what was sent, and did the provider reply with a, incorrect or whatever was the problem, right? So we
Right.
do log your prompts. That is also a necessity by the law, I would say, what you're doing with LLMs, right? That is one approach, logging everything. And then uh, yeah, I mean, there is there is one more thing that we have done, by the way. So one is, if something breaks, and second part is if LLM is giving you correct answers, a hallucination part, right? So if something breaks, you can easily get it from the logs. And second is, if LLM breaks, what we have done is, with every response, you will see a rating system wherein a user can give a thumbs up or a thumbs down, right? A thumbs down on any response has a very high priority for us. So it tells that probably, how we have architecture, or the system from that we have set is breaking or giving us very bad answers. So right now, if you go to MakeZero, you will find those thumbs up and thumbs down everywhere, and we take a note of all those voting that we get, and that helps in shaping or creating better system prompts, for internal system prompts for LMs, to give you better answers. And third is that, anyhow, what user expects is far different than what we created. We need to tell the user exactly what can be done and what cannot be done. Very clearly we need to mention, instead of saying this is your playground, do anything you want. That will break the user's experience. So be very, very specific about what your system can do. And yeah, yeah, these are the three things that can help.
I agree. And now one of my favorite questions. Have you ever solved an AI problem by removing the AI part of the workflow?
Yes, yes. I mean, recently, yes, like quite a lot of things have been removed uh, from the system. Uh, I'll give you an example. You know, there is something that we call memories. There is a brain that we've created for every user in MakeZero, and
Okay.
uh, no matter how greatly or how correctly we prompt the LLM to extract the memories from what the user is doing, we had to go back and hard code few things, right? So if, let's say, the problem was, let's say you wrote a prompt that I drive a red car, right? And we know that, it's a crucial piece of memory that should be saved in the brain, right? But then LLM was rejecting it because it said, it's a very generic term. Of course I can force the LLM to accept that and write a very specific prompt, but then it will break the LLM layer in the future if you make it very specific, right? So what we did was, we LLM did its work. It said no, I will not accept it, right? But then we added another pipeline on top of it, which was looking for cues, right? Cues like I own, I have, or I have a red car, right? So we did some NLP on top of it, not AI, just very basic NLP on top of it, and made sure that whenever a user is writing something like this, I own a red car, it automatically gets saved in your memory. So that is something we recently implemented. Not necessarily remove the LLM part, but yeah, we augmented it.
In that particular question context, let me ask you something.
Hmm.
So the AI can give the different answers
Yeah.
to the same question all
Mhm.
the time. How can a solo founder test something that is not fully predictable in that particular case?
Um, so that's the thing. That's where your the previous question about how you can make sure the system
Yeah.
breaks and how it broke, right? This is
Mhm.
where the logging comes in. And solo founders, you need to have a habit of checking the logs, everything, right? Uh, Flag everything, right? Why something happened, you should have an answer. If this, for example, if this memory was not created, I checked the logs and found the LLM rejected it, saying it was a generic memory, right? Then we built a system on top of it. Um, uh, and yeah, I mean, since no system can be made 100% aligned with your what you want to do, especially the LLM part, because it is so unpredictable. But you can still uh, you know try to encapsulate the LLM with some hard logic on top of it that worked, right? That always works. The hard logic will always work because that is deterministic. So you need to create a chaining, or let's say create a wrapper around your LLM that makes sure that what is coming out of it is also aligned with your goals.
So a founder, should they start creating a spreadsheet that explain what is good, what is bad, and feed it?
Hmm. That's one way of doing it. They should do it.
Okay.
They should do it because that spreadsheet will tell you that these are my goals. This is something I need to do, because you cannot retrain, let's say, GPT-5, right? You do not have the capability to do it, right? And nor you can retrain any small model also, like a 16 billion parameter model. It's a quite a huge. Nobody has a GPU at home. Most of them don't. So it is a very tedious process. So what you need to do is, yes, make a list. We do have that list, by the way, wherein we are writing samples of what we want and what the expected output should be like, and then we feed it into the system prompt. We call it in context learning. That's the proper way of calling it. So we give the example right within the system prompt, saying this is, if this happens, this is an example output of what I want. In context learning is something that you can implement.
Okay. So even though if we have all the context, still, when should the system say I don't know instead of trying to sound helpful?
It's a very prompting is a very difficult task, I would say. Um, um, a couple of months back, I asked ChatGPT. I gave my LinkedIn link to ChatGPT, and I asked, like, what should I and add to my profile so that I can improve it. It gave me that, because from the metadata of the website, you can get the Saurav Singh's profile is there. So he mentioned Saurav Singh, you are Saurav Singh, then you need to should probably add more experience and this and this and that, right? And when I asked, like, how did you know that I should do this, because the link is, you cannot access the link, it's gated, you need to sign in before you can see my full profile. And then the model replied, yes, you're right, I just gave you a generic reply, and I felt like you gave me a personal reply. So his model said, I apologize if I got cost confused, gave you confusing answer. It is very hard to ground a model, I would say. So so let's say if I write in the system prompt that if you come across a LinkedIn link, don't lie about it. Then for how many websites you will do that? It is very difficult. Probably what you can do is, um, again, since LLM is very hard to ground, but 95% of the time you can write a system prompt in which you say you need to have a meaningful amount of data collected from the page you visited, right? Not just the top three headlines that you get out of the page. So again, what we did on our part was, once the page was scraped, we added a layer on top of it. It's a very simple layer in which we check how many words were there. Were the words just generic website description, or was it like related to what the query was, right? And then and if you ask MakeZero the same link, it will say from the link provided, I cannot tell you anything about it. And now it is very transparent about it.
I absolutely agree with that. And this is very crucial. People really need to understand instead of blindly take input as a personal instead of
Yeah.
thinking about how we should do it. I absolutely agree. So the people who building the product around the clients, and of course now for the you for the someone who onboarding the user, what is one of the AI failure that founders usually discover only after customers start paying?
So it will fail like after 5 or 10 prompts from the
Ah,
user. It
yeah.
will fail because when you are building your product, you are very, very careful about what you are writing in your product, right? So you will always write the right prompt in your product, right?
Yeah.
But when people start using your product, they will write anything, right? Even uh, so yeah, I mean, no matter what you do, that's the reason I said that's the reason I prefer the second approach of Eric Ries of lean startup, right? Build, show it to the user, learn, fix, and then build again, right? It's a brutal way of doing it, but at least you have a product in your hand that can be improved. um, the other, I'm just going back to that question, the other part of design thinking, I feel like if you have a ton of cash in your pockets and enough money, then probably you can go through the route of interviewing, let's say, 100 people, and then probably 6 months down the line you will start building a product. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean I now I can understand. This is one of the things generally people say they never expect such behavior from the user,
Huh.
and that's the real testing when this user is actually trying to consume for what they paid.
And
So
just extending my answer, what fixes this problem is, it's not that you have built a wrong system, it's that the user is not guided enough to do what they should do on your platform, right?
yeah, that's
And I faced a similar problem, right? So because I built the system, I knew what to do with it, I knew what to write in the prompt box. There was no guiding light in the platform that could tell the user that no, this is something that you shouldn't do here. If you want to do this, go this, do and do that. Now we have the guided tools built in to MakeZero, like yesterday only we released those guided tools.
I agree, and I think one of the concept is more around the memories, and sometimes it's too much intelligence as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a context around is AI products are beginning to remember users,
Hmm.
connect with the external tools, and divide work between different agents. That can make the experience more personal and powerful. I
Hmm.
agree,
Hmm.
and it can also make the system expensive,
Hmm.
sometimes confusing,
Hmm.
and difficult to control.
Yeah.
So, what makes AI memory useful rather than creepy?
uh I mean, a computer telling you that I know this about you is always creepy.
Yeah.
So,
That's a prospect. Yeah.
I mean, if you go to any website and it says your location is this and this is your IP, I will be like, I know it is public information, but still, yeah, I feel like you shouldn't be the one telling me that you know where I live. But yeah, I mean, memory should be there so that the product evolves with you and probably becomes an extension of you, right? So
Mm.
let's say if you're using ChatGPT, you will realize that ChatGPT now has a memory inbuilt. It doesn't tell it to the user. You can, probably go into settings and probably fiddle around with the memories. But overall, the experience is quite great. Like if I ask ChatGPT, like, what, how should I, incorporate my company? I never mentioned MakeZero AI. In the response, it mentioned, I know that you're working on MakeZero AI and you're in India, right? This is the process how you can do that, right?
Oh,
So this is how you can personalize the answers. And then the more you use ChatGPT, the more personal answer it will start giving you. And creepy or not creepy, I think it's subjective. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it anyway. I mean, it can sound creepy to people anyway. Like, why are you saving
So
my personal information?
yeah, exactly. Because one of the thing is, so there was a time when my sister using my laptop for doing a research
Mhm,
for a day,
mhm,
and because she was doing a research around, she is more with FNCG and the makeup artist and sort of stuff, and she started using my chat GPT
mhm,
to understand more around lipstick and so and so and so.
mhm.
And what is the creepy for me is next time when I ask and doing a research about something, that trying to compare a technology with the lipstick, and then it's keep going on, and I have
Mhm,
no idea why it is happening,
mhm.
because I have no background story, and then somehow it start maintaining the memory in the way
Yeah.
that expect I love lipsticks.
We recently solved this problem. Not me, but in general, people are solving this problem of memory. Instead of memory being added to, let's say, into a table, like, Rajan does likes this, Rajan does this, Rajan has visited these places. Instead of like a list of memories, what we are doing is we are creating a graph memory architecture, right? So your
Okay.
memories are never isolated. So you can expect, like, there is a person in the center, Rajan, right? And then it has a memory of, let's say, I have a red car, right? And then the red car has an associated memory that it runs on petrol, right? And then the petrol has that India has introduced E20 petrol, right? So the
Yeah,
memory is always associated with other memories, right? Not memories are not in silos. Um, and I think people are now using graph memory more than ever, and we call it a brain. By the way, this is what people refer to a brain, the graph memory layout. So because the memories are now associated with each other, now you will see the example that you gave me not coming up more often. It shouldn't happen now, because Rajan is not associated with lipstick. It should be a separate memory, not connected to you.
I agree. So that again trigger one more question: what happened when a system remembers something uh, correct in the current state, but with the time that's become old or the inaccurate?
Hmm.
So how does the preference work in that particular situation?
So I can comment about how our system works, and what we do is, we on a daily basis, we let your brain dream. We call it dreaming, right? So what the brain does is, it will dream. Dreaming means it is analyzing every memory and the connections, right? And also how relevant it is today based on when it was added, right? It will probably also search online if something has changed related to that memory also, right? And anyway, if the memories are quite old, they're we have a weightage system of how important a memory is, so their importance goes down. Just like how in our childhood our memories are not so important, the
Yeah.
current memories are. um, so that's how we have incorporated prioritizing memories.
Okay. So I will move a little bit from memory to more with agent who consuming the memories.
Mhm.
So according to you, I mean, now I remember a scenario where people are debating when to use the agents with the good memory. So according to you, when when do multiple agents genuinely improve a product? So what's your take on that particular one?
I mean, that's a given. Every AI native company will be agentic, right? That's a given thing. Um, I personally, the end goal should be that the agent gives you the right answer, right? In the end, right? How it does it is it's up to the startup founder or the builder who's building it, right?
Yes, yes.
Memory helps the agent. That's up to the founder to decide, or the builder to decide, right? Memory shouldn't always be coupled with the agent, right? um Maybe an example I can give you is, let's say you have an agent that gives you daily news briefing, right?
Mhm.
And then every morning you get at 8 a.m. you get a digest that these are the top headlines for you, right? uh, Now I won't give that agent a brain that Rajan has a red car, Rajan has visited these places. Maybe that can be helpful, but then you are very specific about what you're asking that agent to answer, right? And it can be a simple one line prompt also, that I live here, I I want news on these topics, that's it, right? Why should I know that you own a red car,
Yeah, I
right?
agree. So in that particular context, it's like multi-agent system is like a group chat where nobody know who is in charge.
um, it can be possible if they are not
Uh-huh.
sharing a common brain. It could be possible. And for the most part, I would want the agents to have a separate memory, and only when
Mhm.
required you exchange the information between agents. Because if a specialized agent of, let's say, it is a great agent, let's say, creating a website, right? The other agent is great at creating, let's say, images, right? Based on the context. um, Sharing a common brain for them, it will actually pollute the final brain that is created. So I would want a smaller version of brains with each of those agents, and maybe a common shared memory in the middle. So you can say that group chat is possible, but we don't really give that much power to them. They operate on
Yeah,
their own mainly.
right. So, okay, now that trigger one more question around it is what action should and type of the question, sorry, type of the action should an AI never take without asking the user first? Generally, I see like it, you tell it and start busting around it. So, what kind of the action AI always ask the user first?
Uh, So before answering that question, if an agent is taking action without
Hmm.
asking you, that's the problem with the how the agent or the LLM has been interfaced, right? So if an LLM is saying that RMRF, remove everything from your system, right?
Classic example. Yeah.
The classic example, right?
Yeah.
I should have created a layer on top of the LLM, a predictable logical layer, wherein if the agent is saying that execute this command, the layer above it should actually analyze and say that let I will not run this command automatically, right? I'll take a user input first. So LLM will say whatever it wants to do, right? But then as a user you need to understand the repercussions of what is being executed on your system. So talking about what commands LLM shouldn't be allowed to run, I would say none of the commands should be allowed to run. And you
Yeah.
should learn you should put commands in allow list. So in cursor, if cursor is asking me that should I run this command in your terminal, right? I never set it to allow list. I always look at the command what it is running, and then specifically hit the run button, right? I never put it always allow, because I never know if the command,
Yeah.
the what the future parameters of that of arguments of that command will be like. So
I and there is no guardrail yet that the model itself will learn. And I see people generally say in the general tendency allow every time, and somehow that's not good.
yeah,
And
that's not good, because you never know where that command will be run. Although cursor has a sandboxed environment, I trust cursor on that. But again, it's how you write the command. You know,
yeah,
that's a problem. Um,
I absolutely agree on that. So let's talk about a little bit on the product versus what the already companies is doing.
mhm,
So a determined user could do part of the work I mean, doing through the MakeZero
mhm.
can be done in the ChatGPT, Claude, and few other tools. Why would they need a separate product for that?
See, I can go to Bangalore on a bike also, but I prefer a plane.
Okay. Okay.
But I prefer a plane ticket. over anything else, right? So yes, I mean Claude can do whatever Make Zero does if it is prompted correctly. So if it is prompted correctly, and people are really bad at prompting, uh, so this is where people are creating specialized versions of products like these, right? This is the reason we exist. Of course, Claude, you can do it on Claude as well, right? But then how will you take care of the right theming, the brands, the what a brand is, what your colors are as a brand, right? What your likes or dislikes are in creating content, right? What your social media, what you're doing on social medias, can it also schedule your social media posts? Can it also ingest, let's say, your GitHub and automatically post it on your LinkedIn? These are the workflows that people are looking for, not just I want a LinkedIn post on this, right? They want these
Yeah,
workflows to be existing, right? um, yes, and that's a very very common question I get asked a lot. I can get it done on Cloud also. So I say, okay, go ahead, do it. And when they look at the difference in speed of execution between MakeZero and Claude, because in Claude it's not necessarily that in the first prompt you will get the right answer, right? Uh,
agree.
so you have to prompt it again and again and again to get the final answer. But on MakeZero, you can just trust the product that it knows everything about you and it will create the right product. For me, I will not say that it is 100% right all the time. For me, the 100 pieces of content I've created, probably 92 of them I have posted as it is on my socials, because they were absolutely how would I would write something. So you can say in one shot 92% accuracy is there.
Okay. And one of the hardest technical problem in your current product that you haven't solved yet, but you are planning to solve it.
Yes. So uh, there is a very important piece in Claude. We call it skills, right? So with skills I can teach Claude to do a lot of things, right? So there is for example, there is a skill in Claude that I can add so that it can create videos for me. It can edit videos
Mm.
for me, right? Right now, adding skills is not possible because we have defined what skills are, and you can play around with those skills. The skills are like presentation, document, short video editing, speech creation, right? These are the skills that are baked in to MakeZero. They're not extendable. So we do plan on adding skills to MakeZero so that you can, just import something, and then now your MakeZero can do more than just what is pre-baked into it. So it is work in progress, I would say.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And AI product can be expensive to run from the backend.
Mhm.
So, what was your first painful lesson, I would say, about integration with the right costing and the interface cost?
Uh, the most painful part was that when I started uh, Git chat, right?
Yeah,
The learnings
yeah.
began from there. So that was my first time creating a chat app. I'll be honest with you, all. That was my first time creating a chat app with LLMs. The problem I was facing was, after every question I was asking, the the cost to get the answer became expensive over and over and over and over again, right? Even though I was asking a very basic question, right? Uh, like what color, let's say, like what color is a rose, and it said red. Okay, I asked again, what color is a leaf? It said green. But in answering the question red, in answering the question green, there was a cost increase I was seeing, but I was not sure why it was happening. So the reason was the context was getting inflated that was being sent to LLM, right? Because my chat was growing, so the entire chat was being added uh, to the context, and then I was getting an answer. And then what I did was I went back to learning, right? So there is an important course by Andrew Yang and the team, which is basics of RAG, right? So from there I learned, this is not how you create a chat app, right? First of all, not the entire context is important for the model, right? Based on what you're asking, you should pick up what is correct and add it to the context.
Yeah.
It's called context pruning. So that is something you need to do. And uh, and yeah, it made a significant difference. So our LLM costs were down by approximately 90 to 95% at times. Um,
That,
so
that's great.
even on MakeZero, if you have a long running chat, you will see that the token usage per chat never exceeds, let's say, 20,000 tokens every chat, even though the entire context could be 2 million tokens long. It is that
Wow,
now it is that efficient uh, in context management.
that is one of the the peak problem people have. Like, I'm running with the top notch subscription with the cloud A and the other one, and that always, I don't know how, but I always end up exhausting all my tokens. So,
Mm,
yeah, that's
that is true.
that
And the
yeah
reason is,
that
I'm not saying they are not good at token efficiency, but I am definitely interested in token efficiency because I want to extract more from the money I'm spending, right? So from the $20 you're spending on Claude, the $20 you will be spending on MakeZero, you'll be getting at least 6 to 7 times more usage because we have a
I,
better, just because you have better context management.
I agree. So in that particular context, hmm, okay, now I'll come up with one more question, which is, now the coding become easier,
Mm.
chat context become easier to produce. Where does a real business actually take the advantage from it? So what is the real business advantage that people can use? Is it the technology, the customer understanding, maybe workflow, data, trust, brand, or distribution? What exactly it is that help a real user, uh, the real business advantage from coming from you?
From my product or in general, startup advice?
It's let's say your product.
Okay. Um, so we do see, people are creating a lot of micro SaaS. So micro SaaS is
Mhm.
like, you're solving one particular problem and then you're selling that problem. And for example, it could be like you upload your PDF and then we'll tell you if it is worthy of this job or not. Right now, this is a micro SaaS example of a micro SaaS. Uh, if you have a vision to, let's say, build a company that stays there for at least 5 years, for the next 5 years, you need to look at how much value people want now from your $20 being spent, right? Now, because people have a premise that since Claude can do anything for them, right?
Yeah.
If prompted correctly, Claude can do anything for them, then you just cannot come and say that give me $20 every month. I'll analyze your PDFs and tell you that if you're worthy of applying to this job or not, right? Even Claude can do that. So now
Yeah.
what people are doing is, what people or business owner or the builders or solo builders need to realize is, if you want to make quick buck, go ahead with microsas, but microsas will not become a long lasting business anyway, because people now are too demanding. They want the product to do more than just one use case, I would say. And more value needs to be derived from, for some hard use cases like video editing. That is entirely a huge anyway problem to solve. But if you're providing a general purpose solution, make sure that it provides far more value than just being a micro SaaS. and uh,
I
and yeah,
I agree.
one last bit, distribution will win over your product. So the
Yeah,
person having the best distribution wins, and not the best product.
the distribution always wins. That's I absolutely
The
agree.
distribution
So
will always win.
as a solo founder perspective, how should a solo founder divide time between building, speaking with user, and finding the distribution?
Hmm. I would allocate time like it's the same old playbook, right? Earlier, the building time was a bit larger in terms of how you're building your software company. Writing code was a bit tedious. That has shrunken down. So it has given you opportunity to talk to more users, I would say. if you want to build the right product. So my routine is like probably every day, we'll work for about 1 to 2 hours on the product, fixing the previous day's discussions with the users, and then today we'll again talk to users and incorporate those fixes into the product, right? So, and it also gives us an insight, right, as to where we should shape the product, and that can happen very quickly because of the coding agents we have.
Yeah, I agree. So, okay. So let me ask you something very interesting. Suppose you have to start your business now.
Mhm.
So, for a solo entrepreneur, how would you find the first 10 serious user today?
uh, Let me first reject one thing. Uh, the first 10 users cannot be your friends or your family.
Okay. Okay.
Because they will always say, wow, you're doing an amazing stuff, man. This is great.
Yeah.
uh, People are very modest, and people who know you will never criticize you, you know because they feel like you will get demotivated or whatnot. People are, in general, family are very nice. They will always see you as the best person who is building the best product, right? I would say, finding people, right? Instead, I would try to find if what I'm building has a community for it already. One practical
Oh,
tip is like, Reddit is one last place where humans are still talking to humans. uh, just go to Reddit and probably put in your problem. You will find a lot of subreddits wherein people are discussing about that topic or not. And based on how many people are actually discussing about that problem, you can gauge if your problem is worth solving or not on a larger scale. And I have also found users through Reddit also. That's a very practical advice I'm giving, not a general advice. So there was this Reddit wherein people were asking like, I'm looking for a solution where I can just branch out my chats because the chat GPT is not allowing me to branch out my chats. Now it is allowing me to branch your chats. But from there I found a couple of users who want to try git chat at that time, right? Now, of course, I'm still using Reddit to find the new users. That's the channel I have that has worked really well for me. And let's say if you want to find, you now know that you have a product market fit. If you want to find more users, uh, probably X or even LinkedIn to some extent, but X is also a place where you can find the real users. I would always prioritize if you have a physical proximity with the user so that you can actually see what they're doing. If not, then the best is if you can have regular Zoom calls or Google Meet calls so that you can see how the users are using your product.
okay. That's great. So, while, okay, that also trigger one more question. Like you explain everything about how you can a product done so well. Now, when should a solo founder continue alone,
Mm-hmm.
and when it is the time to bring another person?
You know, uh, so AI is my co-founder, right?
Okay.
AI is my co-founder, right? Literally is. And there is a thing running in Y Combinator that there will be solo builders who will be building unicorn companies very soon in the next 2 to 3 years. You will see companies who have just one founder, one person unicorn companies. There is a possibility that will happen because it's not just the co-founder that you find in with AI. You also find your marketing agent in AI. You also find your copywriting agent and whatnot, video editor in AI. So you can probably assume that only there is one person, but there are like multiple sub agents taking up roles, the roles that previously had uh, humans assigned, replaced by AI agents. Um,
I I totally agree with that. This is the future.
this is the
So
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
this is
when to bring in the next person? Uh, Of course, AI agent has its limitations, right? Of course, it can run for 24/7. Um, but human empathy is something that is still required to build the products. Like I mentioned, a human is still going to purchase your product, so it still requires human empathy, and the person buying the product should see that human empathy. That that's my personal bias also.
Okay, so from let's take a future statement. 3 years from now, what will still be difficult even if the AI models become 10 times better?
Uh,
So, how you look at the business in that prospect?
with the current state of LLMs, right? If they become 10x better, right? That is something. Anyway, it is becoming harder with the current architecture of LLMs to make them better, right? You have to increase their size, which in turn requires proportional compute also to run that model. Um, it is hitting its limit. The attention is all here. The attention uh, architecture that we have in LLMs, right? Uh, we anyhow need a different architecture for large language models. And I believe instead of just ingesting, let's say, your prompts and whatnot, it the LLM has to have more sensory inputs, right? Not just maybe we are throwing you images, or even you can ingest videos, but can you do everything in parallel and in real time, right? For example, a human brain, right, it consumes just 20 watts of power, but then it is ingesting sound, vision, emotions. It is also, and it is also outputting so many data points at the same time and in real time with such a low amount of power. Um, so yeah, I mean, I will not say scaling the current LLMs to be 10 times more better. I would say a new architecture is required uh, in the next couple of years to achieve AGI. This is what I believe. I know I went off tangent a bit to answer the question, but that's my thing.
That's absolutely right approach. To be honest, this is the right prospect to look at the future.
Yeah.
So, what is one of the lesson from a failed startup that you are agree and grateful you learned?
Um. Yeah. I haven't prioritized them. I have maybe a list of what went wrong. Um.
Yeah.
Uh. Maybe I'll take 10 seconds just to prioritize. Okay. Getting product market fit first, then the money, not money first and then the product. Uh, what I mean to say by this is you can raise capital. It's anyhow it's very difficult to raise capital, right? But you can raise capital if something is trending, right? For example, right? Uh, it is still hard, but I do find that you can raise money for a problem statement that excites people, right? But in the long run, you want your product to also make money, right? That's the ultimate end goal of anything, right? Now, and once you have a product market fit, it becomes far more easier to raise capital than it was before pre-product. um, there is some the thoughts right now are not clear because I haven't really spoken about this in a recent time. But yeah, the learning is, uh, now I would go with product market fit first and then raise money.
Hmm. And I I'm thousand time agree with you. That's the biggest fall I have seen with the people,
Hmm.
and that is the only way. You have to be fit in the market first. That's I absolutely agree. Okay, we'll go with quick fire round now. I know this time I won't give you time to answer, but there is a
Sure.
funny five quick factors. So,
Okay.
build first or interview user first?
Build first.
One powerful agent or five specialist agent?
5 specialist agent.
Okay. More feature or one painful problem solved well?
One painful problem solved well will give you virality. To sustain, you need multitudes of features.
Hmm. Okay. Which is more dangerous, an AI agent with production access or a founder with no customer feedback?
A founder with no customer feedback.
Okay.
That product may not have even reach production if you have zero feedback.
Okay, I agree. What should every solo founder measure from day one?
Retention. Retention
That
of users.
that is great. And the last question that I want you to complete is, AI can help a founder build faster, but it cannot replace what?
The pain that you go through when you build a startup.
I absolutely agree. I mean, that's the thought I have in my mind while I was writing this question. So yeah, and I'm glad we had that long discussion. I know
Yeah.
I asked too many questions, and maybe I'm breaking any record
Is it?
recording a podcast, like number of the question I'm gonna ask. I
Okay.
don't know, but yeah, I asked a lot of questions. So
Yeah.
Saurabh, thank you so much, and an honest and practical conversation that is very engaging and the realistic. It's really informative for the people who is watching this.
All right.
Today's discussion made one thing very clear: AI has not removed the hard part of building product for sure. It has it has changed where those hard part lives. Writing code may be fast, that's what I understand today, and creating a prototype again may be a cheaper, but a solo founder may now be able to achieve in a few days what one required an entire team. But speed of creation is not the same as depth of understanding. The
Yeah.
real products still need a clear problem, and this is the another important lesson, that AI make it tempting to automate everything, but good products are not created by removing humans from every step. I know. I mean, this is the part what I understand
Yeah.
is for the solo founders, the opportunity is enormous now. They can test ideas fast. They can build with fewer resources. They can communicate, design, research, and experiment at the speed that previously impossible.
Hmm.
But the advantage will not belongs to the person who generate the most features.
Hmm.
It will belongs to the person who understand the customer most deeply. That's what you explain, and learn the fastest, build trust, and solve one meaningful problem with the consistency.
Hmm.
So the goal should not be asked how quickly I can build an AI app. My understanding is, the question is, can I build something that gain a people trust, repeatedly use, and genuinely miss where it's gone and when it's gone. So this is the journey from demo to production. Saurabh, thank you again for sharing your experience, including the difficult lessons and the problem that are still not fully solved. And to everyone watching and listening, thank you so much for joining us. If you are currently building an AI native product, remember, start small, speak with user early as Saurabh suggests, and measure real values, and do not allow an impressive demo to hide the work still required to build a dependable product.
Hmm.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Saurabh.
Thank you, Rajan, and hopefully, I was able to share, some good, lessons I've learned in life, so that people can start smarter. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. And to the audience, thanks a lot for staying with us so long. And I'm sure I will see you in the next episode of Demo to the Products.